everyone, it's Lisa and Kelly.
Hi.
And we're just doing a questions and answer video with the questions that I have gotten so far. And Bill's gonna take a shower now, of course, and it's gonna make
And we look like poo. It's 10:30 here.
It's been a very long day. But I have probably like 15 questions, maybe less, because once I read through them, probably take out a few that are the same. But we're just gonna go through them real quick and answer some of your questions, and we're both going to have updates probably tomorrow, or they may be up already by the time you see this, but we got some really good news today at the doctor's, and it's moving along, that's for sure.
It's going fast.
Okay, so this first question says, have you decided what Kelly's role will be in the baby's life? For example, a special aunt or godmother?
Godmother? I don't want to be a godmother.
I think that as, like, when my child gets old enough to understand that, I mean, it's going to be known. It's not going to be kept a secret that she was the egg donor. But I'm hoping that our families kind of stay close.
Well, John and I are looking at a point of we're going to be whatever they want us to be, to the children and to them, because, you know, they could go ahead and have their kids and then feel like they don't want us in their lives. And John and I, we made the decision to donate my eggs, knowing full well that it could change our relationship, but the urge and the want for me to want to donate them and let them have a chance to have a family outweighed our friendship. And that's not to say that our friendship isn't important to me, but me seeing her happiness and Bill's happiness to have a family means more than the selfish act of me being able to keep a friend, if that makes sense. So we're willing to be whatever they want us to be to the children. Like, you know, they're Auntie Lisa and Uncle Bill to our kids, so I hope they stick around just for my kids' sake.
I would say that they're going to be like Auntie Kelly and Uncle John, and, you know, that's how I would like to see it. So
what did the psychologist say? Honorary cousins is what the psychologist said that I talked to today at the clinic. So.
All right. The next question is for you.
Ooh.
Kelly, will it be hard for you to see your child raised by someone else? I think it's amazing what you're doing.
First off, I would love for people to stop referring to it as my child. Even in parentheses, I don't think that it's, I mean, I guess in the physical act, it is going to be why can't I say that word? Because
biologically.
It's late. Yes. In that sense, yes, it is technically, if you want to get down to brass terms, my child. But I was adopted, and I am my parents' child, even though I'm not biologically, hey, said it, related to them. So I'm not going to be carrying this egg to term. I'm not going to be even making it into a child. A petri dish is with Bill's sperm, and then she's going to be growing it with her body parts, her blood. She's going to be feeding it. So it's her child. It's not mine. So I'd love for people to stop referring to it as my child. But I'm going to be fine. You know, I don't want any more kids. I'm very happy with my family. I was telling Lisa that I kind of hate having... Sometimes I hate having as many kids as I have, not that I regret it, but I love every child that I have, if that makes sense. Like, I don't love the number of 3, but I love every child I have. So my family's complete, my family's set. So even though the child I realize will possibly look like me, there will be similarities, I don't think it's gonna, I don't want another child. My life is complete. It's their child, and I guess because I was adopted, it's easier for me to differentiate between that and to wrap my head around that. And I know a lot of people have phrased it, to me at least, in my videos sometimes saying, I could never do that, or I don't think this is right because I can't do that, and this and that. It's not about what you can or can't do. It's about what I can or can't do. And I can do this, and I can wrap my head around it. So I'm going to be fine. I'm going to see this kid as their child. It's going to look like Bill. I mean, come on. I'm going to see it as their kid, and I will just be lucky enough if I can, you know, celebrate holidays or see it every once in a while, him or her, not it, but, you know, it's not, I'm not going to, no.
Yep. I'll be calling you all the time, too, for advice, so it's like, all right. I have a question. How does it work on the legal end? Do you have to adopt the child when it's born, or do you have to sign documents to say that you have donated it? So
I think you're adopting the egg.
in a sense, we're adopting the egg. So legally, what happens is my lawyer draws up a contract saying that we're going to adopt her eggs, send it to her, she reads it over, makes sure it's worded correctly, signs it. If there's anything she wants to change at that point, she would send it back. But that's basically...
And everything will be written out,
Yeah.
like expectations for the future. So like their lawyers will make sure, like, okay, so what boundaries do you want to put? Like,
Right.
do you want to say you're not allowed to have contact or this or that, and then they'll send it to us and we'll say, okay, we don't agree with that, or we do, you know, which again, me and John are very flexible. We're willing to do or be whatever they need. So it's just about them coming up with whatever situation that they
Right.
want in a permanent form, and then we'll just sign over all of my eggs. So all of my rights will go to those eggs. Whatever develops from those eggs will just be theirs.
All right. What if you want another child down the road? Will she be freezing some for y'all to use in case you want to do more than one child?
They're freezing them.
We will be freezing any eggs that we get from Kelly. Well, whatever fertilizes, we're going to freeze. Yeah, because we would like more than one ideally. I mean, I would be happy with one, but if I could have more than one or possibly 2 or 3, that's ideally we would like 2 or 3. But so yeah, we will be freezing.
I think with that question too, it's important to say again, she and Bill will be freezing the eggs. My obligations to these eggs stop once they're out of my body, both financially, physically, and, you know, legally.
Right.
They will be taking care of the eggs in the situation. They will do what they please with them. Although I did have the right to say I don't want them donated to another part, you know, group
Right.
of people, and
If
I
we don't
also
use them, right.
had the right to say that I wanted them terminated if they didn't want to use the eggs
Right.
anymore. So that's all I had say over. So again, they're taking over the responsibility of the eggs. I will not be freezing or doing anything with them
Yep.
after they leave my body.
Okay. So happy for you guys. Just curious, but is the doctor going to treat the natural killer issue with intralipids after you get pregnant? Can't wait for you to get pregnant. I'm going to have the intralipids IV 7 to 10 days before my transfer. And then if I do get pregnant, it will be, I'm thinking it's going to be once a month for the first 22 weeks of the pregnancy, but my nurse did say that they're going to monitor me. Like, they're going to do blood work on me every week to make sure that that number is not rising, or because it should stay below a certain level, I guess. So they're going to make sure it doesn't rise. If it does, then I would get another IV, or if it drops down low enough, then maybe I wouldn't need to get one. So they're really going to monitor me really close with that. So and I'll be vlogging about that as we go through it too. So that is that. I know you said you tested positive for natural killer cells and were worried about whether it would affect your donor egg. Is it going to affect my donor egg? No, because that's just something that I have in my body that...
Does you mean will it affect it once it's in you, or...
Once the donor egg's in me, the reason I'd be getting the IV is to make the natural killer cells groggy so that they don't attack the embryo. Yes, that's why we do that whole thing. So
they could affect it, but they're hoping by doing the IVs that it won't affect it.
The IV is supposed to make the natural killer cells like dormant so that they don't attack. So this is just another hurdle that we have to get over because I was, you know, my lady parts are just so much fun. So, are you going to implant more than one egg in the hopes of getting twins? Will you freeze some of the eggs later so she can get her endo fixed? I'm sorry if it's too personal. It's not too personal. We're on YouTube with this. But we would like to implant 2 eggs, yes.
Depends on quality, right?
Depending on the quality, if there's 2 really, you know, whatever the doctor sees or the embryologist thinks is good to put in, we'd like to put 2 in though, yes. And then freezing as far as you to get your endo taken care of?
So there's actually no way for me to get my endometriosis taken care of. I have an endometrioma in my right ovary, I found out during this process, and even though it doesn't affect me getting pregnant, or obviously because I've had 3 kids, and it's not going to affect, you know, the quality of my eggs, I do have less follicles in my right ovary probably because of it. And I talked to my doctor about the steps to take care of my endometriosis, and the only real step is a hysterectomy at this point that's permanent. And again, that's what I was considering before Lisa and Bill decided they wanted my eggs, so it was like perfect timing that they said something. But in further talking to my doctor, since Depo and Lupron seem to be keeping my pain at bay, he's not willing to take my ovaries out until I'm older because they're very important. They affect your whole system, your brain, your body, your hormones, your estrogen. You know, he doesn't want me to be in early menopause at 27. So in regards to taking care of my endometriosis, they don't really have to worry about that. I've already offered, you know, if this all goes really well and say they need more eggs, I haven't passed it by John yet, but you know, that I would consider doing another donor cycle for them. So, you know, and I don't know what, I guess that question really meant about taking care of my endometriosis, because again, there's not a permanent way I can at this point.
I think you had said before in a video way back that you were maybe going to do a hysterectomy. Yeah.
But then my doctor changed his mind and said that that's not an option. So yes, they will be freezing whatever they get out of me, and if they don't have enough, then I would consider doing another cycle, because there's not a permanent form of defertilization for me, so to speak, at this point.
All right. This one says, probably a silly question, but who will physically carry the baby, me or Kelly?
I physically cannot. Let's just get this straight. People keep even on Facebook today, people ask me if I was pregnant again. I cannot physically get pregnant. That's another reason why I'm really confident in my, you know, I'm not going to think their baby is mine. I don't want any more babies. I made that decision. Not only did I get a tubal, but I had an ablation done, which is the burning of my whole entire uterine wall. So even if I got pregnant, I couldn't carry it to term. So she will be carrying them. I don't need to be pregnant again.
I will be carrying. My question is for the future. Do you plan to tell the baby about the struggles and how long it took to conceive? I think so, yeah. I think that'll make the story that much better.
I think you're telling them right now.
Because they'll know just how much they were wanted, yes. So yeah, that's that. And then there's only a couple more. Okay, what will you tell Kaya and Wyatt about your baby? Well, there's somebody else saying baby. Like, will you tell them that they're half siblings or that they're just your babies? What does Ava know?
Okay, again, not my babies. Not my babies. Let's do the terms, not my babies. Not only do I think it's important for people to say that they're not my babies, but for me, I want to be very clear, they're not. So, we kind of, and I already talked to the psychologist about that, and she thought this was a good way of going about it too. I grew up always just kind of knowing that I was adopted. My mom and dad never sat me down necessarily to tell me, but I just kind of knew it was what was normal, so it didn't seem any different. Same with my sister being adopted. We didn't, you know, it just was normal that we didn't look alike, that we came from different, you know, parents or whatever you want to call them. So that's kind of how we're handling it with our kids. They don't necessarily know, like we haven't sat them down and said, I'm putting my eggs in Auntie Lisa. But we don't go to a separate room and whisper about the conversations. You know, they know I'm in Chicago, they know I'm giving eggs, but they don't know what that means. They're too young. Even Ava doesn't know exactly what that means. And basically, we just talk about it around them, and Lisa will get pregnant. They'll come out here for the retrieval, which we'll update you on later, but they'll be out here when I get my egg retrieval, so they'll know the process that I'm going through, but not in depth. And then they'll know that Lisa's pregnant, God willing, and then the baby will come, and we'll either have a relationship or not, and that'll just be what's normal. You know, I feel like if you don't make anything feel weird,
right.
Kids only know what you teach them. They only know hate if you teach them how to hate. They only know bigotry if you teach them how to be bigoted. You know, so for us, we're just going to teach them to accept the situation, and then they'll just grow up not knowing anything is weird or different. They'll just grow up knowing that Aunt Lisa's got some good-looking kids that they're really close to, you know, as whatever cousins or friends or however they want to do it. Or, you know, I don't know. How do you feel? I don't. Yeah. Is that pretty much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good answer. I feel like whatever feels right, and I feel like it feels right now, and I don't see it changing. I feel like us almost getting closer once I have the baby, because I'm going to be calling her all the time for advice, not only, but like...
And I'll have a child to spoil again, because
yeah,
they just grow too fast, guys.
Okay, 2 more questions. Infertility itself is a roller coaster. Will Kelly be around for birthdays and holidays?
again, it's up to them. We'll be wherever they want us to be.
If like we've been out for Wyatt's birthday one year.
They're going to come out this year for his birthday
We're
again.
going out again now, but they're in another state. So, I mean, if it's convenient and we can get together, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
We won't make a point of like, oh, we can't have this party because they're not able to come.
Right.
You know, I would never expect them to do that for their children, like, not in a million years. But, you know, if we're invited, sure, we'll try as hard as we can to be there.
Yeah.
Or send something or, you know.
Yep. And then this one is, are you going to let Kelly be in the baby's life, kind of like with adoption, or just like a close friend? She's gonna be in my life, so she's gonna be in my child's life or children's life. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all, right? And I don't think it's gonna bother me once I have the baby either. Bill and I have talked about this in extent, and I'm not threatened at all. I trust her fully.
I think it would be different if I had more of those kind of like, what's the word? Like I feel like it would be different if I were different. You know, if I felt like I had any type of claim over this pregnancy or the baby that's conceived, I could see her being weird. But like John and I, again, we're set on our family. We love the kids that we have. You know, we don't want any more. And so I feel like we're not a threat. So I think it's just easy for us all to work together and just be happy. I think the biggest loss out of all this, and I would want to avoid at all costs, is not having them in our lives anymore. And I would not risk that at all by being overbearing or too personal, you know, or anything like that. So I think if we're open and honest and sensitive to each other's feelings, I think this is just going to work out really well. I don't think there's going to be anything to worry about.
I don't know how much more open we could get because I was in the room for her ultrasound today.
Was in the room for all my exams today. Granted, she was behind a curtain for
I was behind the curtain.
But
I stayed behind the curtain.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, when you go into something like this, I think that the only way you can survive and the only way it can be normal, like, again, just like with our kids and how we've, you know, I mean, my whole family's blended. I was adopted. My sister was adopted. I have 2 older brothers who are biological to my parents. My own daughter is the half child, you know, in our family because her father and I are not together, so she's got 2 half siblings. You know, like all my kids are used to is blended families, so this will be completely normal to them. And maybe that's why it's easy for me to do this, because it's completely normal to me and my husband. But I think if you're gonna do something like this, you have to do it honestly. And if you can be honest with everybody, then I think it can be really successful. I don't think there should be anything to worry about.
And I feel like we're pretty honest about everything. Like, we're very open about everything, so...
We ask the stupidest questions to each
really
other.
Do.
The stupidest.
We really do.
Like, what if we're out and you're holding the baby and somebody says, oh, hey, your baby's cute? You know, like, you have to ask those questions. Because there's things that you wouldn't really think about until it happens, and that's kind of it. You need to be precautious and air out all the dirty laundry or any doubts before you make the commitment. And that's what we did for the last year before, you know, going through, you know, all of this, so... Yeah.
So that's it. That was the first round of questions that we got from you guys. If you have any more, leave them below this video, and maybe next time we're together, we'll make another video. And that is pretty much it, I think.
I feel like I should clarify something, because right after it came out of my mouth, because YouTube's such a sensitive community, I know somebody will take what I said the wrong way. But when I said that I can't wait to have another child to spoil, I did not mean my child.
Oh, no,
I know. You know that, but you know some people out there are not going to think that. I meant another child in general, like my nieces. I like to spoil my nieces, my nephew, you know, like that
we were shopping today at Carter's, and she was like, look at this.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I can't wait to have another child in general, not mine. Just I wanted to clarify that. 'Cause somebody's going to say.
It doesn't even bother me, honestly. Yeah. So that is all we have. This was our questions and answers. Thanks for your questions. We hope we answered them. You know, we answered them to the best of our ability. So... leave any more you have below, and we'll see you guys in our next video, and stay tuned for our updates because they'll be coming soon.
Or look for them because they might already be up.
They may already be up, yep, but on her channel she's doing the known donor and I'm doing the recipient, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.